Yes. How's it going, people? I hope you are well. My phone's buzzing and buzzing and buzzing, and I nearly got caught out there. Hope you're all well. Welcome back to the show. Race for Europe is back. Pete should be joining very soon. No Lawless or Mads tonight. Lawless on holiday. He needs to go and take a couple of weeks break in Cyprus. So he's got off lightly. Well, I say got off lightly, but he could have had some fun tonight. But could always have fun. Let's be real. Big up to Billy. Big up to Errol. Big up to LB. Big up to Pete, who's going to be here soon. And big up to Dan with what can only be described as a world-class green screen, my friend. Dan United, talk to me. What's happening? How you feeling, brother?
Feeling great, mate. It's Monday. I'm in a great mood. I don't know about you boys. I should imagine 3 of you, maybe 2 of you probably are. 1 of you, but I'm sure we'll get into that. The fact is, this guy can't lie down on the couch anymore with his feet up. He's back in a battle, courtesy of Eric Ten Hag. Boom!
I love it, man. I have to say. Listen, before we do get into it, because that is where we're going to start, make sure you do me a favor. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure that if you want to join, you join as a member. Get any of your super chats in, any of your comments in. And click in the comments, you will see a pinned comment, which is Surfshark VPN. Make sure you click on that and get yourself sorted. Myself and Lee Judges are going to show you an unbelievable bit of acting later on in the stream to support that. So please make sure that you click on that and get the Surfshark VPN. Now, there's only one place to start. Errol, we're going to let you stew just for a bit and hear what Dan United has got to say. And I'm interested to hear what Billy and LB have got to say about Liverpool's performance yesterday. And of course, Manchester United.
I'm going to go on mute and let you, man, do your thing.
Love that.
You can interrupt after yesterday. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Oh yeah, gentlemanly. Well done.
He's got to restrict himself with the mute button, man. He can't help himself by it because he knows he's gonna take the bait in it. Go on, Dan. Cook him.
Do you know what? I'm going to take you all on a journey. Chat. This is what we do in this channel. We tell you a story. Football is a wonderful story. But my story for you guys, it starts on the I'll get it correctly, just double check. 28th of January. It was at 16:33. I'll bring you up to speed. Basically, Liverpool had just spanked Norwich. Norwich in the FA Cup. They always spank Norwich. And it was the birth of something that we've had to suffer in this chat for so long. It was the birth of, and I quote, lads, come the end of the season, you're going to call me the quadfather. That's where it started. Now, you're all football fans. You're all realists. You all know that was absolute bullshit. But to be fair to him, my guy, who I'm chilling with right here, having a great time with. He kept going. And then they won the Carabao Cup against Chelsea. Great. Well done. With the kids. Fantastic. You'd think that Errol would go, do you know what? We've won 1 trophy. Let's just set a little bit, No. My man kept coming. He kept lying. He kept doing the, how are we, boys? This is Quadfather talking. We took it. We accepted it. Do you know why we accepted it? Because we all knew it was never going to happen. Now, this task was given. No, that's not right. I believe it was God-given. I think God-given's what we talk about here to Manchester United. Manchester United, who famously knocked Liverpool off their fucking perch. We've had to take the 7-0. We've had to take all that. But yesterday, we were given the job, the mighty job against the mighty Reds, who could not be stopped. They're going for the quadruple. It's the fucking quadfather, yo. Look at him. The quadfather. It come to us. And I think we all know what happened. Manchester United ended the game with Harry Maguire at centre-back, Bruno Fernandes at centre-back, Anthony at left-back. We had to bring Diallo on. We had no one. Okay, no one. And I've had to listen to this guy say that the boys of the future, they're ready now. We're doing this. And you know what happened? A moment of utter fucking beauty. Diallo wins the ball, edge of the box. Just in case you haven't watched it. The ball sprays out to Garnacho. Viva Garnacho! He takes a little run up the field. Connor Bradley, the next big hope. Trent, your understudy. This is the guy who's going to take everything. Goes the wrong way. Diallo comes in. Bang. 4-3. Out the FA Cup. Quadfather is done and dusted. Errol, you like that guy, and you love an analogy. You like that guy in the group chat that you work with. And a lot of us have worked in offices. He's normally called Stuart or Mike. He's normally that. Do you lads play five-a-side? Yeah, we play five-a-side. Oh, mate, I'm fucking quality, mate. Bring me there. I'll score 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 easy. He turns up, and do you know what it turns out to be, Errol? All hype. All hype. Enjoy this, brother, because I'm about to sit in this chair, in this fucking chair that you can't even see because it's your crotch. That's your crotch. That's my chair, yeah? I'm about to sit this each and every week and get cooked, okay? I've run out of aprons. It's been that messy. But today, I wake up, I'm feeling fine because I tell you what's happened. Your quadruple is in the fucking bin. Thank you very much, Errol. And also thank you to Jurgen Klopp. The farewell tour. Mwah. Thank you.
I like it, man. I like it. In fact, I love it. It feels like weeks and months of building up. And I mean, the green screen says it all. You knew that Dan was going to come with chess tonight. You knew he was going to choose violence tonight, and he has done, man. But I want to get some understanding from LB on yesterday's game, man. I think we all watched it. Cracking game for the neutral. I sat there, let's be real. I kind of wanted Liverpool to get City in the semi-finals, and when I realised they couldn't, I'm calm with them going out now. It doesn't really bother me. But LB, what did you make of it, man? Man United actually showed a little bit of bottle for once.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to give them too much credit because in the second half they were still shambolic, and the biggest disappointment from a Liverpool point of view is that United were there for the taking in that second half. I think Liverpool were arrogant. I think they were just passing the ball around, you know what I mean, dominating possession. I checked at one point, Liverpool in that second half had 72% possession, 72, and Kobe Manu was in that midfield on his own. And they were there for the taking. And Liverpool just didn't really look like they were that arsed about killing the game. It kind of reminded me of a few City matches this season where we played Spurs, Liverpool at home, Palace, where we went 1 goal up. Apart from Palace, we were 2 goals. And we just sort of thought, we'll win this game now, and just kept the ball. And then, you know, you get punished. And that's what happened. You know, United weren't great in that second half, but you know, I said, you know, if it's 2-1 by the 80th minute, United will come forward and push forward. And Liverpool playing a risky game. Obviously, United get back into the match. It goes to extra time. Liverpool take the lead with a deflected goal. And again, from then, it's about seeing the game out, being professional. Then what does Darwin Núñez do? Just completely ridiculous. You know what I mean? And Darwin Núñez must be so annoying as a Liverpool fan, because 1 week he can be amazing. You know what I mean? If you think back to Newcastle away, where he single-handedly won them the game. And then just keep the ball, mate. Just pass it to a player. I think there was a player behind him, one of the fullback, who was just free. Just keep the ball. He tries some stupid ball across the box. Well, not across the box, but like across the pitch, which we all get told when we're playing football, when we're growing up, don't do that. Obviously intercepted, it's a decent finish. And then, you know, again, it's poor. You know, the Diallo goal from a Liverpool point of view is poor. You know, the ball's up the other end. And they just get counter-attacked on too easy. So, listen, Dan is rightfully going to be buzzing about this, and there are probably some positives that you can take from that other than the result. But, you know, let's not make no mistake about it. United in that second half was still abysmal, and they were there for the taking. But at the end of the day, Liverpool didn't kill them off. And then, you know, I said it this morning on Saeed's channel that as bad as United are, they've still got some good players. You know what I mean? You can't take the piss. And I feel like Liverpool in that second half they just was a little bit too arrogant, and just, you know, they didn't go for the kill, and United got the job done. And listen, if City and United do meet in the final, then, you know, hopefully Dan United's team can last more than 13 seconds before conceding a goal. That would be a nice improvement. But yeah, listen, we got to get past Chelsea first. But
I'll ignore all that. I think the thing, LB, completely agree with what you were saying there, and Errol. it was the two opportunities, 4-on-2 and 5-on-2. I couldn't understand. I don't understand. They just looked bewildered, didn't know what to do with the ball. I mean, in both of those occasions, I sat there and went, that's it. And I honestly said in the chat, if you'd have got another one, it would have gone on to be 4-5 easily. But the thing is, for some reason, exactly what LB said, you just didn't kill us off. And I agree. The longer it went on, it was like, well, we're going to have a chance. And of all fucking people to score as well, Anthony, you got to hold that. Anthony, who's only scored against fucking Newport County this season. It was a joke, mate. It was a joke. I actually was terrified of us going to penalties. If it had gone to penalties, I think it had only gone one way. I believe Keller's got like one of the best records in Europe, I think, at the moment in penalties. Am I right? In penalties?
No, I checked it, and there wasn't any difference really between Onana and Keller.
Is there not? And also, I'd like to say I thought Onana was good yesterday. I thought Onana was unlucky with the 2 goals, 2 horrendous deflections. But look, Errol, I'd love to know what you want to say about this. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are moving on for the season. Is it just going to be the treble now, or is the season in jeopardy?
The treble, fuck off! It's a fucking Carabao Cup in the Europa League, mate.
It's the treble. That's what the Liverpool LB. That's what the Liverpool fans are saying.
Yeah, but you should be saying that.
That's what the Liverpool fans are saying.
You should
and
be saying that.
I want to hear him say it. I want to hear him say it.
LB. You should be protecting the
LB,
treble.
You're not. Yeah. I want him to say it. I want him to say it. I want to hear him say the treble. I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Before he does say the treble, before he does come in, I'll bring Billy in and I'll say my piece and I'll let Errol go. I've got so much respect for Jurgen Klopp, Billy, right? But he is the most saltiest geezer when they lose. Now, I've got no problem with a winner, right? There's a difference. But you just see everything about his mannerisms and that. The way he is, it was all like, oh, poor us. It's not our fault. We've had too many games type attitude. And then to give it to a journalist, I was just like, nah, I'm done, man. Show some class. The geezer's not asked you a horrendous question, all right? The geezer's not asked you an impossible question.
He's doing his job at the end of the day.
Yeah, he's doing his job. He's asked the question, and apparently it was a disgrace because they lost. So he told him he was out of shape, and he said, I ain't got the nerve for you, and walked off. Now, I'm not saying this because earlier on I heard you and see you in the chat going, oh, poor Arsenal, always victims. But let's be real, if that was Mikel Arteta, oh, there'd be uproar. My God, it'd be a disgrace. So I'm going to say it now. I thought it was really bad. I thought it was poor form from Jurgen Klopp. And I thought Man United, fair play to him. Dan's right. Letting Anthony score against you is bad enough. But then letting Diallo and McTominay on top of Rashford, who missed an absolute sitter again at the last kick of the game, on top of that, is poor. And I think there's some players missing in this Liverpool side right now that aren't coming out to play. I've never understood this Gakpo kid. Never thought he was good enough. I don't think Luis Diaz is anywhere near on form. I mean, I think he's a good player, but I don't remember the last time this geezer scored. I think it was against us in the FA Cup, and I don't know what his last goal was before that. This guy has got no output at the moment. So there's a few Liverpool players. I don't know, man. It's not quite working for him. Darwin Nunez, obviously mentioned by LB as well. Harvey Elliott, they're saying this kid's going to be the next best thing. I don't know. He's all right, to be fair. Don't mind him. But I'm still not seeing a top talent there. I think he's all right. So, yeah, I think some of these Liverpool players need calling out a bit, Bill.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, they're still second in the league and in a title race. You know, they can't.
Oh, come on, Bill! Look at that! I've set him up. I've set him up. He's just writing it down.
Billy, I was giving you a free run tonight. I was leaving you alone.
What's he doing, bro?
Oh. You don't leave me alone. So I'm on Errol's side now. You've teamed up with Lawless for some bizarre reason, so I'm teaming up with Errol. Quadfather.
Me out this. I don't.
Errol, hang on. Sorry, stop. Everyone, stop. You just said Errol the Quadfather. I think this guy's like Prince. He's the artist formerly known as the Quadfather. Okay, the reunion tour's done. It's done. Continue.
Anyway, yeah. I do agree with what you're saying. Gakpo, in most games that I've watched him, has been a passenger. To be honest with you, really not living up to his price tag at the minute. Whether that will change eventually this season, I'm not too sure. under a different manager. I don't know. It's always going to be hard replacing someone like Jurgen Klopp. But yeah, there are players. Diaz is another one, like you mentioned. Potts not living up to it at the minute. Really needs to sort his end ball out. Really. And Klopp, he does every now and then have a tendency to throw his toys out the pram a little bit, but
he's not polite like Emery, is he? He's not polite like Emery. You know.
Good evening.
No, he's not. To be honest with you. Yeah, to be honest with you, I was just going to get onto that point, Dan. To be honest with you, it makes me realise how lucky Villa are. You know, straight down the tunnel. No, seriously, straight down the tunnel when we win, lose, or draw. You know, he's always respectful in press conferences, in
100% Billy.
Things like that. He always greets you. Good morning.
It's what you want from a manager, isn't it? It's what you want from a manager. Respect.
Respect. He doesn't give any of these fist punches that you're starting to see likes of O'Neill doing and other
managers. Doesn't run to the crowd when they draw 2-2 against West Brom with the players. Just gets on with it. Just gets on with it.
Doesn't pull a hamstring celebrating.
No, we are very lucky with Emery. But yeah, also to a certain extent, heat of the moment things. You know, we're all human at the end of the day, but Jurgen Klopp, like I said, does have a tendency to throw his toys out the pram. And if it was Arteta, there would be absolute uproar. And I think there has been, to be fair. I think a lot of fans have called Klopp out for what he did and what he said. But yeah, I dread to think what he'd say to me if that reporter was out of shape.
Love that, Bill. Listen, Errol, we've done our best to stir it, mate. We've done our best to try and understand what you're feeling. And I don't think it's harsh, what we've said, if I'm honest. And I think most Liverpool fans will probably look at that similarly if they're football men. I don't think Liverpool looked good enough in the extra time. And I think it was fair for the reporter to question the intensity. I think Jurgen Klopp's done an unbelievable job. And I still think he has this season, particularly, to be fair, in the last few weeks with the injuries you've had. It hasn't really looked like you've had the big players out because he's come in and done a good job. But yesterday, man, I feel like he held a bit of an L, Errol.
He had to. You have said a lot there, to be honest with you, and there's not a lot I can really refute. In terms of the whole quadfather thing, I absolutely at one point felt like we would go the full distance. Genuinely, it didn't feel. Do you know what? I think when we said that as well, I can't remember the date stamp that you had on there, Dan.
28th of January, 4:30. Mate.
Sorry,
just 16:33 if you want to get technical.
So I was expecting Salah to be coming back. I think we'd still had Alisson. I think Szoboszlai was due back. The thing that disappointed me the most yesterday was, and I think I mentioned it to my Liverpool group chat last night, was that was the first time in weeks we've been able to field a strong 11. Like, that was an 11 where, okay, you've still got Quanta in there. You've still got, well, to be fair, you only had Quanta in the back line and Kelleher. Outside of that, everybody else you could argue is in there on merit. And obviously coming back from injuries. So, you know.
No Trent, though. No Trent.
No Trent. But obviously Gomez is in there, and Gomez is in there on merit recently. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
You've kind of got to give him credit for that. So whether he plays as a utility left back or a right back, if he makes his way into the back line, it's there on merit. It's been there on form. And I just thought, considering the levels that some of the ad hoc players have had to put in and the shifts that they've had to put in to overcome, you know, various challenges. You know, it was a week ago where I know you could say, all right, we played out a draw against City, but look at the second half that we played against City. And I know it's at Anfield, but we was all over City. We swarmed them and we was relentless. And there was a number of players in there that are very much fringe players wanting to make their way into that first 11. So it was disappointing yesterday in terms of the attitude in that second half, because it was far too complacent, far too casual. And it was very frustrating as a Liverpool fan to sit there and watch them do that, because irrespective of, you know, Man United's form or Man United's season, when you play up against Man United, that's a derby. And I always feel Man U, especially at Old Trafford, have they have a knack for dragging us down to their level. And that doesn't mean that their level is particularly poor, but they make it more of a dogfight it's not necessarily a fantastic footballing occasion with high quality footballing. And this is, someone else in the chat there, LB, saying, I asked you last night in the chat, Dan, when was the last time you scored 4 goals? And I know it went to extra time, so, but in a game, when was the last time you went and scored 4 goals? It hasn't happened all season to the best of my memory. And it was just really,
what a time for it to happen.
And well, that's what I'm saying. Like it was really, really disappointing to see that players that I've been saying and not necessarily calling out, because I think, the way you said before, Poch, there have been a couple of players that are passengers. I think.
Yes, you said. Sorry. Yes, you said 4-3 against Wolves.
Okay, fair. But I think if you all looked at your own teams, and it's not necessarily your times, Billy, but if you guys looked at your own teams in the best seasons that you have had with your best squads, there was probably still 1 or 2 passengers that you were carrying. Sometimes that you'd turn to the bench and you'd get through one and you probably thought, are they really going to turn up today? And from a Liverpool's perspective, those passengers, to me, feel like they're still starters. And I don't necessarily feel they warrant being able to be starters without any question at the moment. And I've said it for ages. Diaz being the primary one that I've spoken about, not necessarily called out, but again, I've criticised, and there've been valid criticisms of his end product, what he does with the ball. People will say, yeah, he gets you 40 yards up the pitch and he helps you get. But we've got players that can do that. Robertson, he could get us 80 yards up the pitch. He'd run the whole of his half and then the whole of your half as well. He'd get you up the pitch and he'd get you into that final third and he'd put a ball in the box. So it's not like we don't have someone to be able to do that. We don't necessarily need someone to just do that one function. We need someone in that final third on that left-hand side that can be clinical, that can cut in, that can drop a shoulder, can beat a man and deliver something in the box to your forwards. Or even better still, take the man on and make this keeper look stupid. And he, for whatever reason, it's gone. That spark in him, that ability, that killer streak is absolutely gone. Cody Gakpo, another one. He doesn't look like he has what it takes at this moment in time to be, in that Liverpool side at all. I remember the very beginning of the season, Jurgen Klopp was doing the absolute most to get him in that starting 11. How quickly that's all changed, because now he just can't feature in it. And even when he does feature in it, he offers absolutely nothing. And it's blunt. And I feel like when you're 2-1 up at Old Trafford and you take Mohamed Salah off, whether that's for, religious reasons because of Ramadan, whether that's because he's just come back from an injury, whether that's because you want him to, keep him fit and keep him fresh for the title running, whatever your logic and your reasoning is, all that does and signifies to the Man United crowd, to the players on the pitches, fucking hell, their biggest threat's just gone off the pitch now. We can breathe a little bit. And we allowed Manchester United yesterday to, I'll be honest, they embarrassed us. Like, I actually said, if we went to extra time against Leicester, Coventry, Wolves, City, no, not necessarily City, but Chelsea, any of the others, I would have said, give it to them. Let them take it. They've taken us to extra time. To my mind, that's a victory for them in itself. It means it's more minutes in our legs. It means it could be penalties. It means if there's an opportunity for another 2 extra games, I don't want it. But the fact that it was Man U, the last thing I wanted to do yesterday was lose. And I'm gutted. I'm not 100. Again, I still can't really comment on Jurgen Klopp's comments because I've not went back to watch the post-match content, the interview or anything like that. But again, it's no secret. And I think from a Jurgen Klopp's perspective, and you will probably all disagree with me on this, but this is just my take, that man has had to endure a lot of snide comments, backhanded comments, and a little bit of patronising from the British media over his years. And I'm not like nitpicking one particular season or one particular incident. I'm just saying there have been a catalogue of things that he hasn't always handled well, but he's had to deal with irrespective of how well he's handled them. And I think now that he knows he's going, it's 0 fucks given. I'll say what I want. I'll do what I want.
What do you mean by that then, Errol? Give me some examples of what he's had to deal with.
So there've been times where, he's criticised referees and he's questioned, and then interviewers have just like stuck it on him as if he's just made it up and it's been fabricated. And it's like, well, it's clear for everybody to see They always seem to want to know why, you know, you lose your head in situations. Like, why'd you get so agitated? They even done it the other day when we was winning like 7-8-1. Why'd you get so agitated? Why'd you get so animated? And it's like, why are you pinpointing one moment? It's almost like, not necessarily it's almost what content creators do for something where they know they're going to get clicks. And I feel like he is someone who's very emotive. So he will act without always necessarily thinking about certain things. And he'll be the first to admit that. But I just think there have been a number of situations over the last number of years where there have been incidents that have happened where you just think, okay, why did they have to go there? What was the reason for them going there?
It was a bit classless from him though on his part.
Oh yeah, I without seeing it from what you have said, it does come across like that. But I genuinely think he's at a point where he thinks, you know what, it is what it is.
I don't care anymore.
No, like what recourse can there possibly be to me? I'm going in a couple of months. So you either like it or lump it. And I'm not saying that's the attitude that I want him to go out with, because I think by and large, he's respected by fans across the board. Even, you know, Dan United, massive hate, can't stand Liverpool, but at times had a lot of respect for what Jurgen Klopp has done with this Liverpool side.
Errol, I've said it time and again. I'll always say that. I think what the guy's done, I said it a few weeks ago after the Carabao Cup final, you know,
and what he's done. Yeah. But I think it's in fair measure that you can criticise him as well. I genuinely do think that, like, at the end of the day, I think by and large, football fans across the board will think Jurgen Klopp's been a net positive to English football. But you've also got to take the rough with the smooth. And it could be the same thing you could say against Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho, for times, was a class act. But as soon as shit wasn't going Jose's way, you started to see a completely different side of him that really started to rattle a few cages. So I'm not saying that Jurgen Klopp hasn't got the ability to be able to do that. And I'm not going to be sitting here trying to defend what he did yesterday without seeing it. But from my perspective, my attention really is drawn down to the players, because I even said it with Grizz the other night. Grizz had tweeted out that, you know, Diaz was going to be on the bench for the Europa League game. I turned around and said, I need this kid to get on the pitch and score some goals, mate. I need goals from him. I said, he needs to come on Sunday and score me some goals, because at the minute, it's not good enough. Like, we can't be carrying people. And when you know Salah's not 100% fit, when you know Núñez is always going to cause chaos, but not necessarily, he's either going to create or he's going to score, but not necessarily guaranteed to do either at any particular moment, you need somebody else that can be a spark and a creator in Luis Diaz. I don't expect him to get the goals that Salah does. I don't expect him to get the goals that Núñez does. But I expect him to be pulling up better numbers when it comes to content, like chance creation. And he simply just isn't hitting those heights at the moment. So for me, that's an area where we need to address it. Right now, obviously, you can't address it in a window. You've got to address it tactically. But it is absolutely critical that one of two things happen. He either addresses his form after the international break, or Diogo Jota comes back and is fit enough to really up.
You're missing him, man. You're missing Jota.
We're missing him.
Can I come in here and just raise a few points?
Yeah.
Can I just raise a few points? So, first of all, the thing of Klopp, the comments, like, he's been a dick there, yeah, but like, it is what it is. Like, I think that, like, there's other times when Klopp's been a dick, and it is what it is. For me, I'd be more asking questions like, why did this guy, play Salah for a full 90 minutes in a dead game, and then take him off against United, which wasn't a dead game? Also, I didn't think we need to have an honest conversation about Zabozo, mate, because this guy, might have started off the season good, but this guy just spams shots from 35 yards. What does he actually do? You know what I mean? I don't know what.
Are you talking about?
I was like, do you know what pissed me off more than anything else, though? It was the in-game management, though, LB, bro. Like, how are you going to get to 119 minutes played on the clock? You have a corner, fair fucks, but why are you leaving Conor Bradley as your last man there? And why are you sending every man, every Tom, Dick, Harry, Jane, Steve, Wayne, and his dog up top? There's no need to do that. There's absolutely no.
Commentator cursed you with that, mate. Commentator cursed you with that. He said, Simicus, just like the Carabao Cup final. Virgil van Dijk's up there. Oh, he's missed him. Oh, it's a goal you played.
But the thing is, though, Dan, like, you're doing it at Old Trafford. There is no need to do that. Like, pens around the corner. Like, literally, send 5 lads up and just keep a couple of lads back. and let it be what it'll be. If it goes in, it goes in. If it doesn't, we just take it to pens, and we'll just try and see out if we can hold our nerve.
Who were your penalty takers? Who were your penalty takers? Is that not maybe they were worried about who was on the pitch?
Well, no, because McAllister was still on the pitch. I think Nunes was still on the pitch. I think Diaz was still on the pitch. Verge was still on the pitch. And I think Harvey Elliott may have stood up and taken a penalty. But again, that's not necessarily where my frustration lies. My frustration lies at the actual in-game management. There was moments in that game, as you mentioned, the counter-attacks. There was a couple of those where if we make better decisions and if we're more clinical, better runs, and we leave you with no options, we score. There's the infield pass from Nunes as the LB's already picked up. Why is he doing that? And the kid works so hard, and I feel sorry for him because he is someone that works tirelessly for the team. So it's not like it's done out of just being a lazy player, or it's not done out of him and not having any quality. It was just an absolute brain fart of a moment in the worst time to possibly do it. And then on top of that, you then decide to throw everybody up on the 119th minute. So we was our own worst enemies in that performance, and we handicapped ourselves and we gifted Manchester United opportunities. What I will say about Man U, though, is I still think you've had the better clear-cut chances throughout the course of the game. The couple of goals that we scored, I know you mentioned there was deflections, but there was a couple of clear-cut chances that you've had that I thought, ooh, on another day. Go on, Pete.
Errol, I think we can both agree, extra time, there was no formation. It was chaos.
No, it was chaos. It was chaos from the start.
It was utter chaos.
But you don't necessarily need to have the formation in place, which I think you'd always want to see. But you need to just have that little bit of nous, that little bit of game management. And I know Liverpool fans will hate me and slate me for saying this. And it's almost a bit of a, there's no point in saying it, to be fair, but I think it is valid. If Jordan Henderson's playing that game yesterday in extra time, we don't lose that. And a lot of people could turn around and be like, what does he do? He doesn't get used to that far, and he's probably been knocked out a couple of rounds before and all the rest of it, and blah, blah, blah. I think, yeah, fair enough. But genuinely, having someone like that in extra time for you and your team.
This brings me on nicely. Big up to Pete, by the way. This brings me on nicely to what I was going to say.
Go on.
Liverpool fans won't like this, right? But I honestly think that if this Liverpool side was to win the Premier League, I think Jurgen Klopp's probably the best achievement he's ever done. Because I've seen better Liverpool sides not win Premier League titles than this one. Like, real talk. Like, you just mentioned the player there in Jordan Henderson, right? We've not. This is a team that doesn't have Henderson, doesn't have Wijnaldum, doesn't have Fabinho, doesn't have Firmino, doesn't have Mane, and that was a better side. I would argue that, if I'm honest with you, the team that had Sturridge, Suarez, and Sterling was probably up there with this one, right? No. For me, I think it would be an unbelievable achievement if they win the league. And you still can, by the way. I'm not saying you're not going to, because you still could.
The thing that I'll take the point that you're saying, but I think from my perspective, I always said that I didn't expect Jurgen to give the news that he gave 2.5 months ago or whatever it was now. I didn't expect that. So when we was like vying for it and we was close to City, close to Arsenal, and it was like, ooh, I genuinely thought in my gut, this may be a season too soon, but there's enough in it for the lads to go into that last whatever many games. The lads that have been there and done it can look around the room and say, we've got what it takes because we've done it before. This is the levels that you're going to need to put in week by week now, or you're on it. If you're on it, come with us. If you aren't on it, then next year might have to be the year that we really push and we could actually put our chests out from early and say we're going for the title, which we didn't do. No Liverpool fan really at the start of the season said we was going to go for the title. I think I even conceded that City were going to win the league and we'd finish second. So the fact that we're in with the shout now, it just goes to show to me more than anything. I
get that, Errol, right? And I think it is phenomenal if they do it, right? If Liverpool win the league with this team. But and this isn't me saying that you've got a bunch of bozos, because you're far from it, right? But I get what LB's saying. You know, Zabozo. I didn't actually know you'd called him that, to be fair, bro. Zabozo. But I honestly think Arsenal fans overhype our players as a fan base, right? Saka's world class, Odegaard's world class, Martinelli's world class. I think Liverpool do it a bit as well, bro. I can't lie.
I've told you from the start of the season. Yeah, but I've told you from the start.
I'm not saying you do it.
I'm not saying you do, but I'm telling you from the start of the season. I told you we had the most firepower. All of our forwards, or even though I can't, Right.
But they don't. They haven't though. They haven't
No,
though.
but you're not letting me finish
saying.
what I'm going to say. You're not letting me finish what I'm going to say. So
Go on then, go on.
even though I am critical of Diaz and Gakpo, every single one of our front five have got over 10 goals this season so far. We're the only team in England to have done it. So I told you from the start we had the most firepower, and they've come through with the metrics to say that they all chipped in over the course of the season with more than 10 goals so far. So I'm not saying that they're all world class in their respectives, but I knew that they would all come clutch when it comes to the firepower that we had up top. The one area where I was really, really, really skeptical this season was the defense. I didn't know what the midfield was going to do because I'd never seen it before, really. But defensively, we've stepped up and we've got one of the best defensive records in the league to this day still so far. So from that perspective, and we've still got the best goalkeeper, I don't see how you can really look at it and be like, all right, you can pick holes in the midfield, but I think there are more surprises in the midfield than there are letdowns.
I think you're right. I think Endo is the biggest surprise for me. I think he's been good, but I look at this Szoboszlai guy, and I honestly thought Liverpool fans were going to put him on a pedestal as being one of the best players in the club in the first 10 games. I thought, let's just give this kid a bit more of a chance to actually see what he's made of. I mean, I love Grizz, but Hungarian Gerrard, are we for real? Like, what's happening here? Like, this guy's disappeared for God knows how long. I don't remember the last time I see him have an unbelievable game. Luis Diaz, we've called out as well, rightly so. Gakpo, I don't get it. I know you're saying they're putting out the numbers, but we're having the same conversations here that I've been trying to have with other fans about my club. Like, Saka's been shit this year. Well, look at his numbers. They're still good. Ødegaard, he's not been great this year, but look at this. Kai Havertz has been a terrible signing. Look at his numbers. And now we're starting to compare him, and now Liverpool getting the ump. This is what we've had all season. The numbers are still there. So this is my point. I honestly believe if Liverpool win it, I mean, I still think Man City are going to win the Premier League. I do, right? But I do look at it, and I think if Liverpool were to do it, I'd be like, fair play, Klopp, because there's some gaps in that team that I don't look at this Liverpool team and go, wow. I mean, that is fantastic. I still look at it and think, God, they're quite weak in that area. And I don't know if they've got the best there. I don't know if they've got the best that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but up until Pep come and done what Pep's been doing and been Centurions and all them vibes, you didn't have to have the perfect team to win the league. There was gaps in Chelsea's team that won the league. There's been gaps in Leicester's team that won the league. There's been gaps in Arsenal teams in past that have won the league. There have been gaps in Man United's teams that have won the league.
Take our names out your fucking mouth.
No,
bro,
bro, come on. Like, if we're calling a spade, let's just have it as it is. There have been gaps in your teams when you have won the league. I'm not saying you haven't won the league with still strong teams, but there have still been gaps. It doesn't necessarily. It's only because City have turned it into such a freak novelty that you end up with plus 95 points to go on and win the league, where you feel like every single one of your players from start to back has got to be a world beater. But when you bring everything back down to a normal level, you don't have to have an absolutely flawless team to have. Yeah, even you said there, the 2012, 2013 team from Man United, it was on its way out. They still won a league. It was a massive achievement for Sir Alex Ferguson sometimes. No, I mean,
Errol, is this
when you've got one of the best managers in the world, they will always manage to get an extra 10 to 15% out of their players, even if they do have world-class players at their disposal. That's where Brendan Rodgers wasn't able to get us over the line in that season, because he wasn't world-class to get that extra 10, 15% out of certain players, which he needed to do. I'm being honest.
Errol, are you concerned for the rest of the season? I mean,
no.
Games like this.
No, we've lost 3 games all season. 3 games all season.
It's an honest question.
No, I don't know it is, and I respect it. But when you deep it, we've lost 3 games all season. They hurt because we haven't lost, and we haven't shit the bed to a Brentford this year, and we haven't shit the bed to a fucking Crystal Palace this year. But we've shit the bed to Arsenal. We absolutely didn't turn up that day. I genuinely still think, and most people think, we got robbed by Spurs. Bit of a hard one to take. And yesterday, we capitulated when it mattered most. Genuinely, they're the 3 domestic losses that we've had all year. So we can criticize, but in terms of that being a derailing factor, if it was me and if I was Jurgen Klopp, I would be doing my utmost to try and use this as a motivating factor now to say, you need to be here.
He's going to have to. He's going to have to. And I'll say this as well. Like, for me, right, if Arsenal don't win the league this season, I want Liverpool to win it, right, ahead of Manchester City. I've said that because I just don't want them just running away with it every year, right? But I think some of the Liverpool fans have had a little bit of not a wake-up call, because it's not the right thing to say, but a little bit of a like, whoa, okay, we got to get back on the track now, because I was hearing 4-1s, 3-0s, 3-1s in this game. Liverpool really confident, and the same fans were telling me they were going to beat us 3-0 at the Emirates. And I could see this was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen against Man United, but I could see it coming when it was like last minute goal against Forest. Was it Forest? I could see it. I was thinking, this isn't going to be sustainable. This is going to crumble soon. Now, sometimes you crumble and then you jump straight back on. And sometimes you need that crumble to give you a bit of that wake up. And that could happen, Errol. You could now get it back. And Klopp probably will do that. But I just think sometimes that's what this Premier League is about, man. And obviously, in this case, the FA Cup, you look at it and you think, this is bloody difficult, man. Because that can happen to anybody. And I think that's just what happened to Liverpool yesterday, in my opinion. LB, sorry, you were going to say...
Liverpool haven't had like a bad period of the season yet. Like, if you look at City, when we was like, I think we won one game in 5 or 6. I think Arsenal won 1 in 7. Like, Liverpool have just like win, draw, win, draw. Like, they've just like dropped a point or lost, but then started winning straight away. So it will be interesting to see if they go through that period. I mean, it's unlikely because, you know, whilst Brighton might be a challenge, even if they got beat off Brighton or dropped points to Brighton, they then play Sheffield United at home. So it's unlikely that Liverpool are going to go through like a mad run. But, you know, from a City point of view, and I guess the same from an Arsenal point of view, we don't need them to go through a bad run. We just need them to drop a few points. And for my view yesterday, you know, I did get more confident about the Premier League having watched Liverpool yesterday, because I thought they were poor. You know what I mean? And I don't think there's any getting away from that. You know, like I say, I thought they looked a bit arrogant in the way they played, and just the general sort of quality just wasn't there and was a bit lacking. And make no mistake about it, the pressure on these players is mad. Yeah, because obviously, like everyone, all the Liverpool fans and obviously all the players will want to win this Premier League. Just because they want to win it, but obviously for Jurgen Klopp as well. And that next game against Brighton, I initially said that's going to be easy W for Liverpool. I still think they'll win it, but like the pressure on that game is absolutely huge, because if they do drop points there, whoever wins between City and Arsenal, who obviously play after the Liverpool game, they will feel that they will go on and win the Premier League. So for Liverpool, having this 2-week break isn't ideal, but when they come back and play that Brighton game, they just need to win. No matter how bad the performance is.
They got boys back as well, haven't they? After the
yeah, but it's not really about that, though, is it? When you get to this part of the season, it's not really. I don't think it's about that. It's about handling the pressure. Yeah. Because like all Arsenal fans, and all the City fans will be watching that game, and the Liverpool fans will know that they're under huge pressure. They've got to win the football match. And listen, Brighton will be going there knowing full well that they can cause a big upset. You know what I mean? And Brighton are a decent side on the day, so. For Liverpool now, it's just about getting on 3 points against Brighton, you know. But listen, the pressure's on. The pressure's on massively.
Yeah, the pressure is on, man. Listen, Dan, I want to come to you quickly on.
I've got a bounce as well, so thank you for the cooking.
Big up, bro.
Errol, before you go, after the Carabao Cup final against Pete last season, did yesterday make you realise that you had to respect Ten Hag that bit more, and maybe when Ten Hag? Do you get what I'm saying?
Bro, I get what you're saying. I can't wait for my man to get a new contract slapped down on the table. I hope he finds another 10 years. I'm hoping. I hope he stays for life. Get him comfortable. Get him a statue erected as well while we're at it. He deserves one after that performance.
Errol, big up, my bro.
Quadfather 8.
Quadfather. We'll run it back just now. Safe.
In a bit, man. In a bit. Dan, has to be said, bruv. Ten Hag's record. Won the Carabao Cup, FA Cup final, FA Cup semi-final. He likes the domestic trophies, this guy, man. I must say. It's the worst thing that can happen, Man United, to win an FA Cup with him and get top 4, or you'd be quite happy because then he can stay and he's the right guy. Like, where are we at this Man United point? Because you said it, I think, last time we were on together. What the hell do we do? Now, it might be they keep him anyway. I don't know. I actually don't know what this new regime are thinking about with Ten Hag, right? But fair play. Yesterday, he was all right with the Man United fans. They liked him yesterday. But real talk, like that was a lot of people did it when they brought on Anthony and Maguire. Everyone thought, right, get him gone, and actually it worked out right. But I must say, like, it's domestic cup.
I've got to give a shout out for Maguire, because I tell you what, Maguire's season, we wanted him gone in the summer. He's one of the only players this season that's come in and I think played for the badge and give everything. I thought he was decent when he came on yesterday. I thought he broke up play quite well. But referring to your question about Ten Hag, it's look, at the end of the day, if he wins the FA Cup, and look, the man below me, I know they've got to get through Chelsea, but we know where they're going. We know they're going to the final. If he wins the FA Cup, and if we get top 5, he stays, doesn't he? There's no way. They're not going to do what they did to Van Gaal, are they? They're not going to sack him on the back of it. They're going to keep him, and they're going to give him another 2 transfer windows. Do I think it's right? I'm not so sure it is. I don't think you can forget how bad we've been this season. We have just been so fortunate that we have. I don't even know how we're still in the race for top 5. I mean, mathematically we are. You know, Villa dropping points to West Ham. Spurs losing to Fulham.
Yeah. They've bottled it, bro. That is the Spursy thing, and Aston Villa have shown that they've done that a few times. You know, when they played Sheffield United earlier on in the season, seems to be a bit of a mentality issue there for Aston Villa.
I'm sure we'll get onto that.
No, but Dan's right though. If United somehow wing their way into the Champions League, yeah, that is, oh my god, like Billy, bro, like your club.
Whoever drops out is getting an absolute cooking. We know that.
Yeah, that cannot happen. That cannot happen. But the thing is, if Ten Hag does win this FA Cup, which is still, you'd still say it's unlikely, but if he does, like, if he wins the FA Cup but doesn't get the Champions League, what do you think then, Dan? Do you think he still stays?
I'm getting Van Gaal vibes. Vibes there, LB. I'm getting Van Gaal vibes.
Though, right? You mentioned Emery, and I'm not. This is not my thoughts. This is a question, devil's advocate type thing. Emery was at Arsenal, right, and above him was a shambles, like a proper shambles. And he's proven when the above him isn't a shambles that he can do a really good job, like he's doing at Villa. I know people, LB saying that he might bottle it and stuff like that. Could happen, but he's doing a good job at Aston Villa. This is Villa. Do you know what I mean? He's picked him up from where Gerrard left him, and he's taken them into the Champions League spots, right? Could Ten Hag, with the right structure ahead of him, take Man United forward to where you want them to be?
This is the question, Potts, and I'm with LB, by the way, shaking his head. I'm with LB. I think there's too much happened over the course of this season, style-wise, that says no. We've spoke about so many times. All of our teams here have had injury problems. Fucking hell, Pete's had injury problems. Do you know what I mean? Horrendous. But you've always seen what Howe's tried to play. You've always seen what Arteta tried to play. You've seen what Villa tried to play. City have tried to play. With United, and yesterday, I mean, he's gone now, and I was going to say it, but he disappeared. Again, Manchester United moments FC. That's what got us through yesterday. As simple as that. There is no clear pathway in the way that we play football. The gap between the attack and defence, again, yesterday, so many times, was Sunday League-esque. It really was Sunday League-esque. So if he gets if he gets the FA Cup, I still say go. I still say go if he gets Champions League. I do. That's me. I think too much has happened, but he will, quite rightly, I think, in the eyes of the owners, be given chance to move on next season. I don't think the structure behind there's going to work personally because, as I've said before, in his contract it states he has the final say over players. It states that. So you're telling me that he is going to sit there and accept from these, from the Ashworths, the Wilcoxes potentially. He's going to accept them saying, no, you're not going and getting Brian Robbie from Ajax. You're not getting this guy. These are the players you're getting. Do you think that's going to work? There is going to be a massive breakdown in relationship. And the problem is that will absolutely destroy Manchester United's season next season. So the board have got to be so smart here. They've got to think about what they want to do. Do they want to worry about hurting the feelings of a select few United fans? Are they worried about that? Or do they want to be the club that they are trying to be that goes out there and does what they need to do? I remember Chelsea with Ranieri. When Abramovich come over, sacked him, got rid of him, just finished really well for the season. Wasn't good enough for Abramovich. He wanted the title. We've seen boards come in and do that. So I think they've got to get their big boy balls on. I really do. And I think regardless of what happens,
I think let's be real, and we'll finish on this. If Ten Hag would have showed the style of play at Man United, and it would have been, do you know what? He's trying, but these players are just crap. I don't see what he's done at Man United to talk like that because I haven't seen a style of play. I don't see an identity. I don't see a philosophy. I don't think any of the players that he wanted, by the way, he's got the best out of. You can probably argue that Sandro Martinez, when he's fit, has been all right. But some of the others have been shocking. Anthony, that Malacia, I haven't seen much of him. He brought in Ericsson and Azani and some of the other lads. Even Casemiro, you could look at. Some of these guys, not for me. So,
Potts, with that, sorry, Pete, just quickly, with that, with these Manchester United players, we have seen it time and time again. A manager gets sacked, a new manager comes in, and they hit the ground running. They've got the ability. I just think you've got to put it on the coaching, but I think you've got to put it on the players as well. These players at Manchester United will throw anyone under the bus.
Oh yeah, awful.
But who are you talking about, Dan? Who's going to come in? Like who's that guy? Like we've talked about Liverpool and Klopp leaving and looking like Xabi Alonso could be that guy. Maybe not. Who knows? But they've got a clear idea of maybe at least one manager that could come in and continue what they're doing to a point. But if Ten Hag goes, if they go, okay, right, it's time. You need to move on. Who else out there is there?
Hansi Flick, man. I'll go and get Flick.
There isn't, even so, that could be another Ten Hag situation all over again. Never managed in England at this sort of level, like with Man United. It's a different proposition.
I think the difference you've got is that this guy wins and has won at high level. And I think whatever manager you get, Pete, you got to back him.
I'm terrified that
Thomas guys playing. They're going to go, you're joking. They're not good enough. So they've got to come in with that. So you've got two ways with what I'm getting at. You can even go Graham Potter and De Zerbi and go on there and go and have a project, which I think is a stupid idea, in my opinion. Or you say Diego Simeone, Hansi Flick, Simeone Inzaghi, type manager, and go, you're a winner. I'm going to give you 2 seasons of a transfer window that you can do what you want with, and you have got to get me a trophy and a Champions League football at the bare minimum. And that's what you do. You don't have this 5 years with De Zerbi. Won't matter if we don't win anything. This is Man United. This is the biggest club, one of the biggest clubs in the world, man.
You bring Potter in, those players will eat him alive. 100%. Those players will eat him alive. We saw him try. He had a bite of the cherry at Chelsea. It went horrifically wrong. They will do exactly the same at Old Trafford.
But this is the thing. Like you've got a number of managers there that, got good credentials, but could quite easily go the other way. And you're talking about managers being eaten up. Who's to say that's not going to happen to whoever comes in again? And then you're back to square one again. And this is the thing, is that I had a chat with Don the other week, and I was saying the same. He wants Pochettino gone. He wants him out. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But you just then go around the same cycle again, because you've got players that Eric Ten Hag has brought in that the new manager might not like. You guys talk about Martinez. Like, good centre-back, plays well under what Ten Hag wants. But who's to say a new manager comes in, wants him? He might not want him. He might not be tall enough. He might not be the type of player that he wants to play his style of football. And it gets to the point where you're just going around that cycle again. And I think,
Pete, isn't that a good thing for the new manager coming in with this new ownership? Isn't that a good thing that this new ownership want to absolutely hit the reset button? Is that not an advantage to?
Yeah, you can't just keep Ten Hag because of the players, man. Like at the end of the day, if he's not the right manager, you've got to get rid of him. I think one thing to address what the point that Pete made is the fact that United wouldn't be in this position if they didn't allow Ten Hag to make the signings in the first place. What United should be doing, and this is how I think the direction of the football club will turn to, is United will choose a style of play and they will buy players to fit that system. And then when you get a new manager, the manager should be able to work with those players. So and that's obviously a new directional change. But you listen, I just think like Ten Hag, man, I agree with Popsy what he said before. Like I just think he's gone about it all wrong. For me, he focused too much on short-term results. But short-term results meant that he was on the hook for when the results didn't go their way, because he was playing to get results. Whereas if he would have just gone in there and said, I was brought in to play my style of football, I'm going to play my style of football, and the players can't do it, and he just kept on saying, well, I'm not changing because this is why I was brought in, then I think the fans would have been like, hey, fair play, like you brought him in. And then actually the cooking would have gone on to the players and the board, because then everyone would have gone, well, he's telling us that he was brought in to play this style of football and he's not changing because that's what he was done. So it's on the board or it's on the players. So I just think that he's kind of fucked himself, really. But
I agree.
listen, I do think there's managers out there that you could potentially get. You know, whether you go for someone like a Hansi Flick or you go for someone a bit more inexperienced, like the lad at Girona, or you go for like a De Zerbi or whatever. I don't know, but
The Galsman, maybe.
yeah, I don't know.
I just don't want Tuchel. I don't want Tuchel.
What about Simeone?
Mate, I
That's
said
the
to
one.
Dan the other day, I'd walk to Spain to get him. 100%. Walk to Spain.
He's the one, man. He's the one that you'd want to get because he wins.
I wasn't
man.
saying that Ten Hag should stay, by the way. I'm just giving like an alternative opinion. So I wanted to know genuinely who you thought would come in if he goes. For me, like if they were my team, I'd be saying he needs to go. Like start again, refresh. But I was just interested to see what sort of names you were thinking about.
I think for me, you've got two options, and you go project management, like 5-year project rubbish with young kids, all this rubbish, or you just go win in 2 windows and go right in 2 windows. I want to see this Man United side start to get towards where it should be, and I think Man United have got the money to do that. If they didn't, I'd understand why they go for a bit more of a project, but that's what I think they need to do. Listen, we're going to move, man. Before we come to LB and Pete to close the show, let's come to you, Bill. Aston Villa, man. I'm watching at the moment. I'm not seeing much personnel change. I know you got Kamara and McGinn, who's obviously suspended at the moment. They're both out, but I don't think there's many players out, unless you correct me. But it's not looking like the same Aston Villa, man. It's not. And I got to say, I wonder if this is going to be Aston Villa's kind of start to potentially bottle in the Champions League, which I don't think you will do, by the way. But what's your thoughts, bro? Dan, I know you got to go. Sorry, mate. I'm just in.
Sorry,
Love,
guys.
mate.
Sorry, guys.
Love. Cheers, man.
Take it easy, mate.
Is that
See you in the
right?
final, LB. Be gentle.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much. There's not much worry from me, to be honest with you. I'm fairly relaxed on the subject. We've played 11 more games than Spurs. We might start to be looking a little bit leggy, but we've had injuries as well. And not many people know about them because Emery's not really made an excuse. He's said several times we don't want an excuse culture, and so he doesn't really bring it up. At the beginning of the season, we had 2 players who last year were regular starters with ACL injuries. Kamara's now got another ACL injuries. We've had a lot of injuries as well, and 7 of our defenders have all started 10 Premier League games or more. 7 defenders. So with a very unsettled back line, we're still 4th, 3 points clear of Spurs, 1 better goal difference. If they beat Chelsea, then they go above us, but they've still got to beat Chelsea. We turned over fairly comfortably a Fulham side that they just got hammered by. Football's a crazy game, and this is what I was saying last week. There's still a lot of football to be played. You're going to win some games that you expect to lose, and you're going to lose some games that you expect to win. And that's the ultimate thing about it. I think we're still going to go far in the Conference League, still in the quarterfinal stage, obviously. Two games away from a final in that.
Tough draw to
9
be fair,
games.
Bill, but you'll take it. But tough. That's not the easiest of draws. That's probably one of the only other teams I would look at and go, yeah, on a good day, Lille. But I still think you'll win.
You have to. Yeah, so do I. To be honest with you, you have to be the best.
You'll win,
and
Pete.
what a way to do it, though. What a way to do it. You beat Ajax in the round of 16. You beat Lille in the quarterfinals. Then it's either Olympiacos or Fenerbahce. Fenerbahce, I believe, are on an incredible run in Turkey as well at the minute. And then
Don't do this, Billy. Don't do it.
I'm not.
Don't start bigging up the other teams. Just start planning your trophy parade. Just start planning it, right? Don't start bigging up other teams. Come on.
I said, but we this is the thing though. We've not had a Lineker, for example, like West Ham have had. We've played. We will be playing some more difficult teams, should I say, than West Ham last season. But that's the way I want to go. To be honest with you,
I agree with that. I agree with that actually.
I want to play these best teams. Bring it on. Bring it on. But yeah, like I said, I do still think we're gonna win it. And like I said, we've already played 11 more games than Spurs. Our squad is up and down all over the place with injuries and suspensions and things like that. But like I say as well, there's a lot of football still to be played, and I do think that we can. The game against West Ham, it was a point. we're still 9 points clear of Man United. You know, with the goal difference, you could argue that that's 10. We're 18 goals ahead of them. You know, that's another win, essentially, another point that they need to claw against us. So yeah, it's certainly not over yet. I reckon we can still do it, and if we don't, it's been an incredible run. But yeah, we've got to. It's one of them that I'll have to take on the chin.
You've got to finish top 4, bro.
Go on,
you know, the most important thing for us at the minute, I think, is just making sure that we go as far as we can in Europe to give us that little bit of a buffer as well in the league, because I don't think that we're going to drop 9 points. It's going to be a real big disappointment if we drop
collapse.
9 points to. Yeah, exactly. And to be fair,
that's not going to happen, man. That's not going to happen.
We do have a pretty hard run in comparison to some of the teams around us, but I've got enough belief in this squad and in Emery.
Got to finish above Spurs, in my opinion, Billy, as well.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like, you don't want to be looking at that top 5, though, Billy, and saying, oh, yeah, you want to be focusing on the top 4, man. So make sure it's in your hands, innit? And at the end of the day, like, 2 poor results. You got Wolves coming up next. That has to be a win. Wolves are a decent side on the day, so that has to be a win. And then I'm looking at it and thinking, okay, so if you pick up these are your sort of fixtures. So you beat Wolves. Yeah, you got 9 games left. So you beat Wolves. All right, that's home. You beat Brentford at home. You beat Bournemouth at home. You beat Chelsea at home because really should be beating them at home. And then maybe you beat Palace away. Right, they're 5 games. Yeah, I think they're all winnable fixtures. Even the Chelsea at home game, you can win. If you win all them, you got 4 other matches. Are Spurs really gonna win 5 because they've still got to play City, Liverpool, and Arsenal? By the way, are they really going to win?
So do we,
5 as well. Plus, yeah, but I didn't include them in that list. So what I'm saying is, are they really going to win 5 to equal your 5 and then win more points in the final 4 other games than you are? I don't think so. So for me, it's massively in your hands, and I think that you should be super disappointed if you don't get it.
Yeah, it absolutely is in our own hands. And like I say, I just think we have to get as far as we can in Europe anyway, to just give ourselves that little bit of a buffer. Because if Spurs do finish above us, so be it. At least we've still got Champions League, you know. But it's one of those things. I'm not too worried about it just yet. Maybe if you come down to last few games at the end of the season, and it's all of a sudden down to 2 or 3 points with Man United, maybe I start to get a little bit worried and a little bit nervy. But I'm still fairly confident that we can finish certainly in the top 5, and I think we can go further in Europe as well to hopefully solidify that top 5 Champions League.
If you get through against Lille, you have to win that Conference League, man. It would be poor if Villa go out of that. If you beat even with Lille, I still think you should beat them.
Yeah,
I think it would be poor now if you go out. I think you'd deserve a cooking from Lawless if you went out now. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm at. I know Lawless is talking rubbish about Souček crying about that. That was a handball, by the way. And what was he trying to stick up for there? Did anyone understand that? Was that
how did that take 5 minutes, by the way? Man? It was a clear handball. As soon as someone sent the video in the chat, I was like, what the hell? It is hand. How did that take 5 minutes?
Yeah, this is the thing that Lawless says. You know, it should never have taken 5.5 minutes in the first place. That's number one. But at the end of the game, you know, this happened in the 96th minute. There was two minutes left of the game. You know, that decision has a massive impact on the outcome of the 2 teams. You know, we're not talking that it was in the 60th or the 70th minute or even in the first half when there's still plenty of football to be played in that game. It's a last minute decision. And if it takes 5.5 minutes for them to come to the correct decision, in that instance, I think its most important thing is for them to come to the correct decision. If it's taken them that long and they still come to the wrong decision, that's when everyone should be up in arms, and rightfully so. Like I say, shouldn't have taken that long in the first place, but I'm glad that they took that long and came to the right decision. Because
how did they take that long? Because I think you're right, Billy. Yeah, but like people can still be up in arms even though they got the right decision, because that should not have taken 5 minutes.
Nah.
I know.
I was just like, I didn't even know what happened, right? And then I was just went in the group chat, and then someone had sent the video in of the goal, like a 7-second clip, and I was like, yeah, it's handball. Like with instantly just was like, yeah, it's handball, it's hit his arm and then gone in the net. Like, so how would they took 7 minutes there? I don't know. And obviously it's just annoying, man, because it's just like VAR just takes all these sort of emotion out of the game for me. And when it takes that long, I mean,
Yeah, man.
the good news is next year when this automatic offside thing comes in, I think that's going to massively help things because, you know, we've all seen, all our teams have been in Europe. We've all seen how good that is. Did they have it in the Conference League, actually, Billy?
I'm pretty sure they do.
AI thing where it's like
they're bound to.
Yeah, probably will. But that's so much. That wasn't a dig, by the way. I was just genuinely curious as whether. No.
I didn't take it as a dig.
No, but I seen Potsy up there.
I'm not lawless, man. I'm not lawless.
No, I seen him smirking, thinking that I was trying to get onto him. No, but that's good. That's good. But yeah, now listen. I think I still think if you finish top 4, yeah, and won that Conference League, I think Emery would have to be up there with Manager of the Year. I just think that would be, that would be difficult.
He has to, in my opinion. He has to. You know, the what he's done.
What one do you want, though, Bill? I asked this to Rich and he shot me. What one do you want? Do you want Champions League top 4? Do you want the trophy? You can only have one.
As David
you can only have one. You can only have one.
It has to be the Conference League, I think. You know, football's about winning things.
Good answer, mate.
Football's about winning things. And that night in Athens, if hopefully we win,
is that where it is, Athens? Yeah.
That will live much, much longer in the memory for Aston Villa fans, as I'm sure West Ham fans can back up as well. That will live much longer in the memory of Villa fans than a season in the Champions League.
100%, bro. 100%. Now, listen, like, it's good to be in the Champions League and that. Like, even if when you don't win it, it's still pretty sick. Like playing the best teams, as I'm sure Pete will tell you. But I'm pretty sure Pete would rather have won a trophy this year than go out of the group stage. So, although, to be fair, his team did smack PSG 4-1, which is pretty sick. But, you know, like, it's about trophies, man, isn't it? And this is I think this is what Postecoglou was saying. Like, what's the point in coming top 4 if, like, you're not going to win anything? Like, you got to compete. So, I always pick the trophies, man. Yeah, I mean, and I need people who play down the Conference League. Like, I ignore these people, man, because at the end of the day,
you can only play what's in front of you at the end of the day. And the Conference League is a thing. And it might be a little bit of a Mickey Mouse trophy, but we're in it.
By the time you get to the time you get to the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and that, you're playing Europa League sides anyway. Like, you played Ajax in the last round. Like, what the fuck? Like, Ajax in the Champions League side normally. So yeah, I just think these people like group stage.
If Villa win that, it will be a bigger achievement than when West Ham won it, I think.
I genuinely, not even being funny here, I genuinely think that with the teams that we've faced, like I said, we're not facing a Larnaca. You know, we're facing Ajax, we're facing Lille, we're facing Olympiacos or Fenerbahce. You know, we've had a much harder run in this competition than West Ham. They don't care. They've won the Conference League.
Agreed.
You know, however, if we win, hopefully when we win, you know, all right, we might not have won every single game like West Ham. I don't give a shit. We've got a trophy. We've got the trophy. It doesn't matter. We've got the trophy.
Man, listen, I still think you'll win it. I said it from before ball was kicked, and I think England will do very well in the Europe competitions. I think Liverpool win the Europa League. I think Villa will win the conference, and I did say Man City will win the Champions League. Hopefully, I'm now it's in the draw. I hope I'm wrong because that means we're going out. Even if we do beat Bayern, but no, I do think they're still favourites. So it's mad, isn't it, that Man City are favourites to do a treble again? That is crazy, you know.
In our run again, man. Our run, bro. We got the same run as last year, just reverse this time.
Yeah.
So
it's mad.
Yeah, man.
Well, let's move to you two before we close. I was sort of saying, Pete, I'm kind of can't stick up for Newcastle anymore, but to be fair, couple of deflected goals, and Man City were lucky. Now I'm joking, mate. I'll try my best to stick up for Newcastle, but I'm struggling now, man. You had a poor season, bro. It's had a poor season. It's going to finish trophyless. I want to know. Let me come to LB first about Newcastle, because I only watched the first half, and if I'm honest, I wouldn't have watched Tottenham losing. It was funnier, so I didn't watch the second half of the game. Were Newcastle poor, LB? Was it easy for Man City?
Yeah, Newcastle were poor again. And I'm going to say something that Dave might not like, but to me, I got the impression that some of those players were not fully committed to the manager and to the cause. Like the way the way they were moving. It just smacked of they weren't given effort. You can just kind of tell sometimes, can't you, when players are, I wouldn't say they downed tools, but they definitely, some of those players were definitely not playing at 100%, man. It just, in my view, was sort of like a neutral looking in on Newcastle there, which would be disappointing for Newcastle fans, but they were poor. And listen, I've been on to Newcastle all season. And it's not because I hate them. I have nothing against Newcastle. There's been no beef between City and Newcastle in recent years that I can remember of. I just genuinely been massively disappointed with them, even at the beginning of the season when they didn't have all the injuries. I just thought they looked poor, and I think the midfield when they first played us on match day 1 was really bad, and I just think it's been a disastrous of a year. And obviously, it's not all been their fault. They've had some bad injuries, of course. Like, to be honest, an injury list that I've never seen in the Premier League before. But even now, when they're starting to get like some players back, just didn't look like a team. And I just feel that Eddie Howe, we discussed it on Pete's channel. This was before the game, by the way. I would give him next season. I think he deserves the opportunity. But it's for me, if I'm the owners, I'm being ruthless with him. I'm saying, listen, top 4, you've got a good team there. We all rave about Isak, how mint he is. Yeah, they've got Bruno, Joe Linton will be back, Tonali will be back. They've got Gordon on the left. Yeah, they've got some decent defenders in there, and obviously Pope will be back in next season unless they get a new goalkeeper. That is a team that should be competing for top 4. So for me, I'd be saying to Newcastle and Eddie Howe, top 4, otherwise you're gone. Like, that's just my opinion. But yeah, from on the match, I was worried about what I saw from Newcastle, because it just looked to me like some of the players there just weren't giving their effort. That's just my take as a neutral there.
So, has anyone seen Only Fools and Horses where Trigger calls Rodney Dave? I am sure LB called Pete Dave there. Is that me?
Yeah, he did.
It's because he's got Dave
I
there.
know,
isn't it?
I've done it before as well.
Yeah, it's my time. That's what
I sat there and I thought, hang on a minute, did he just call him Dave? Anyway,
Yeah.
Listen, I agree with LB. Isak's coming to Arsenal in the summer.
fuck off, man.
No, he is. And I'll tell you how I know. Because if you ever need top reliable sources, then go to the following. Football London have said we're signing him. Daily Express have said we're signing him. Football 365, Team Talk, and Tribal Football. It's all over it, mate. Arsenal are signing him in the summer. Listen, I would
Most
love him.
reliable sources only.
Reliable sources. I don't think we're getting Isak. I would love him, but I don't think Newcastle are selling him. But Pete, worried about things at the moment? Worried about Eddie Howe's future? Do you really mind? Do you love Eddie Howe enough to believe he's the right guy next season? Like, where are you at, bro? Like, it's been a bit of a disappointment this season, man. I understand injuries have killed you. They have. That is actually a genuine excuse for why I think Newcastle have been poor. But a lot of your players are coming back now, and it just don't seem to be getting any better, man.
It's been a constant disruption, Potts. You say, and to be fair, I said that. Get players back, they'll be fit, they'll be ready to go, this, that, and the other. Some of them are broken down again. It's been a constant disruption all season. And when you've not had an opportunity to get up to speed and play a significant number of games like the rest of the teams have had, it is an issue. And I didn't like to use it as an excuse when we were doing these shows in sort of December. Keep going, we'll get through it. We're still picking up results in November. We can do it again. But like, I'm looking at it now, I'm like, we're still picking up injuries. Like, we went into that game where Gordon really shouldn't have played. The only reason he's playing is to justify his call up and to make sure he gets into that squad for England. Like, that's why he played. And he just went through the motions on Saturday. He wasn't really in it. He was just kind of, right, let's get through the game. Let me get to my England training and get my first cap. And then I'll be buzzing with that. And that's, I think that's genuinely the case, because he wasn't really the Gordon that we've seen. Trippier wasn't there. Tino Livramento's not there. Like, we're still missing players. Barnes was injured as well. So it's just been constant. Like, we've never had a settled squad of players for a number of period of time to be able to showcase what we're about. LB's absolutely right. You look at that team of players that he's mentioned, and we do the business, but we've just not had that team. And that's the biggest problem. And I do, like, for me, in my head, I'm like, you know what? I can't wait. I just want this season done. I want it done. I want the players to go away for summer, get themselves back fresh, fit, and ready to play, and we go again next season, and add a few players to this team. And like I genuinely feel, and I said this to LB on our show the other night, and I've said it to Loaded Boys as well. I genuinely feel we'll be right back in that race for Champions League next season, with added players to this squad, with everyone fit and firing again. We will be back fit and playing like at the top. Not saying we're going to get Champions League, but we'll be in the conversation, I think. And I just think this has been such a bad season for so many reasons: injuries, performances. Recruitment wasn't great, not the way it should have been. They couldn't have foreseen the Tonali situation, but we could have and should have done more in that window, in the summer window. And then it goes to sort of Eddie Howe, and Eddie Howe will get next season. They've already it's already been sort of leaked when the questions get asked about Eddie Howe, it comes out very quickly that he's going to be in charge next season, and I think he will be. I think they'll give him another season. They'll recognise his injuries that he's had to contend with, and they'll give him a summer to rebuild and go again. But that's all he'll get. And LB's absolutely right. And when you said it to me the other night, LB, I was in full agreement. He'll get next season, but if he doesn't get Champions League, and bearing in mind Champions League will probably be again 5 teams, so it gives him an even better chance to achieve it. If he doesn't, then that's when they'll look to move him on. And bearing in mind, I think next summer, after next season, I think that's the end of his contract. I think he only has, a year left after that.
Oh, wow.
So even more reason for that to be a natural kind of goodbye. And
he'll be going to West Ham with Lawless.
Maybe. But what I will say is that the only way that, in my opinion, stops or gets cut short early is if PIF pull the trigger. And what they will do, and they've already been talking about it, is that they will have a review of the season. The ownership, PIF, the owners in England, Eddie Howe, they will have a review of the season. And whether PIF decide early on this summer to say, we're going to look elsewhere, that'll be up to them because they're the majority owners. But after
that would be harsh, wouldn't it? That would be harsh for me. Give him one more year. Give him one more year.
It would be harsh, but as you boys have said over the course of this season, and as so many other fans of other clubs and Newcastle fans have said, is that PIF are here to be number one. They're here to be the best, and they want to be the best, and they want to try and achieve that as quickly as possible. So who's to say that they're looking at what they're seeing? Because I tell you what, we went through the motions on Saturday. I thought the setup of the team wasn't the worst in the world to try and stop them playing, but the execution of it was awful, particularly in the final third, because we'd still created openings. Isak wasn't on it. We missed chances. Okay, it just wasn't executed right. Now, you could argue that that's the players not executing what Eddie Howe wants, but you could also argue that he's not implemented it right. Whatever you can argue, it wasn't good enough. And we were the only game in those quarterfinals that went out with a whimper, and that really pisses me off. You look at Coventry going hammering tongue at Wolves. You look at Man United. They Leicester City of all teams, like going out there against Chelsea and giving it a good game. We're the only ones that kind of just turned up and just went through the motions, went out with a whimper, off we go, another season without a trophy. That really annoyed me. It annoys me because it's a mentality. For me, it's a mentality thing. We've been like this even when we were good back in the entertainers days. When we go to certain teams, we've got a mentality where we just don't turn up. And we need to get rid of that, and we need to move that on as quickly as possible, because it's something that's really pissed me off for years. But saying all of that, we're still 4 points off Europe. And we've got a run of fixtures between now and the end of the season that are more than winnable. So if we're able to put a decent run of form together, we've still got a chance to get in Europe. And it goes back to the point you talked about with Billy Potts. I take Europa Conference all day long. Some people discard it. Tottenham fans, Toby and that, discard it. They don't care. They don't want Europa Conference. Hey, you give me a chance to win the European trophy, I'm taking it all day long. We ain't won a trophy for 60 odd
Yeah,
years.
the Tottenham thing
all day long.
it don't make sense anyway because they don't win trophies. So why are they like sort of scoffing at trophies?
makes
I mean,
sense.
they're coming for you in the chat, Pete. They're coming for you, Ronnie. He's saying Newcastle won't be anywhere near top 4 next season. King Oddle saying that Ange has had a horrendous injury list this season. Key players and they're fifth.
Not like Newcastle. Not like
Yeah,
Newcastle.
not to be fair, not quite like Newcastle. Newcastle's has been absolutely wild. They're still below where they should be, even with the injuries for me. But it has been crazy, to be fair.
No, it has been unbelievable, man, big time. LB, to wrap up, are you going to do another treble?
I think that if we beat Arsenal in the league game, I think we'll go on to win the league, and then it's about the Champions League, isn't it? You need a bit of luck in Europe. So
you won the FA Cup, and that's done.
Well, I mean, we should be winning the FA Cup. I mean, you should beat Chelsea. We've not beaten once this year, but we should beat them. And then whoever we get in the final, you'd like to think we'll win. But Champions League's a little bit difficult because it's not just about the best team; it's about luck as well. Luck is involved in that competition 100%. So I think scary thing for you guys is it's certainly on. It's on the cards. But I think again it comes down to the game against Arsenal. We've got to win. We've got to win that game against Arsenal 100%.
Do you think whoever loses are out the title race?
I think if City lose, I don't see us making that back. I think if you lose, you might have a chance. But again, I don't. Yeah, to answer the question simply, yeah, I think whoever loses is probably out of the title race.
Mad, isn't it? Absolutely.
We play Villa after that.
That's a bold claim to make, though, because both of you have got
there only 9 games left.
Yeah. No, there's only 9 games left, but you've still got Villa to play. You've still both got Spurs to play. You know, there's no writing off that either Villa or Spurs could cause an upset and the other one could lose. And,
but
there's your 3 points game.
If Liverpool win their game against Brighton, which most people expect them to win, right, they will go 4 points ahead of Manchester City with a superior goal difference. With a superior goal difference. By the way, the game after that, they play Sheffield United and we play Villa, who absolutely smacked us up. And by the way, if we have lost against Arsenal, because this is hypothetical, this is the conversation, that means we, again, still only won 2 games against the big teams, both against Manchester United. So then again, what gives us confidence that we'll beat Villa? So for me, I think if whoever loses that game, I think he's probably out of it. We'd be 4 points behind Liverpool with an inferior goal difference.
The thing is, it's for me anyway. It's still Man City. It's still Man City.
So you think we can take 5 points? We'd have to take 5 points off Liverpool. 5 points off Liverpool in 9 games. I just don't see it happening.
No, but like I say with the Villa Spurs thing, there's still so much football to be played.
You say that, LB. It's Liverpool got to draw twice. That's it.
Yeah, but we got to win both of those games.
Yeah, but you're used to that, man. You can do it.
Yeah, this is what I mean.
You're going to back Man City, aren't you? You're going to back Man City because you've been and done it year upon year upon year upon year. If you're going to back anyone in this situation, you back City to do it.
If we had a better goal difference, I'd still back us if we lost. But I just think if we lose 9 games, 5 points effectively, I just don't see us being able to do that. I think that's a hard ask. Especially when you've got to play Villa. You still got to play Spurs away, by the way.
Anyone see Arsenal taking 3 points at the Etihad?
No. I don't think it's completely out of the question. But I think I agree, to be honest with you. Like I said, I don't think it's completely out of the question. I think it's going to be a very close game. I certainly don't think a team's going to run away with it 2-3-0 or anything. But like I say, I'm going to sound like a broken record for the past 2 minutes, but it's still Man City.
I think the one good thing about that game is that both teams, I think, have got fully fit squads, haven't they? I don't think there's any excuses.
About time, man. That's what I wanted to see, LB, the whole time. We haven't been able to see it. You've had Rodri out. We've had Saka out. We had Partey and Jesus out. You've had Sanchez out. I want to just see where we're both at. That's what I want to see. And hopefully we get to see that. Yeah.
No one gets injured on the international break.
I was just going to say. Probably find out that Saka and Rodri and KDB and Odegaard will come back and they'll be out. But I just want it to be a real good game, and I want us to actually prove where we've come. That's what I want to be. Same with this Bayern Munich thing. I was all right with it, getting them. Everyone was like, oh, God, oh, Bayern Munich, really? I will take Bayern Munich compared to some of the other teams we could have got, 100%. I don't think that was a horrible draw for us at all. I'll say that. Didn't like the side of the draw we're on, because if we do get through, we've got City or Madrid, right? But this is what we wanted, isn't it? Jesus.
Yeah,
this
nah,
Arsenal
bro,
fans
you
are
should
just
want
Can't
them
beat the
games,
best.
man. You want to play these teams when you're in the
100.
Champions League.
100%.
That's what it's about, man. So I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing that we got Real Madrid and potentially Arsenal or Bayern. Like, that's sick, man. Like, that's what it's about. You don't want to
You
get
want
to
Bayern,
Champions League
Beat
final playing
Madrid. Do you want Bayern or Arsenal if you beat Madrid?
Bayern Munich.
Wow.
I
Never
think
thought
you're
you
better.
would
I think you're as a
have said that
team, as a
few years
team. I
ago.
think you're a better team than us, than Bayern Munich as a team. That doesn't mean you'll beat Bayern Munich because obviously, like I say, Champions League, there's more about it than just who's the better team. Because if it was who's the better team, City would have won more Champions League than just one in the last decade. You got to have an experience, dark. Like I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans crying about the way Porto played. You know, you can tell how long you've not played Champions League football for. You know what I mean? That's standard. That's par for the course. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
So it will be.
Crazy.
Are you at home in that first leg or are you away at Allianz?
Yeah, we're at home first against Bayern and then second, and then against you, we're at home. If I
Yeah.
say against you, that's if we do both get through. Then it's a home again, man. Ain't been great, but we'll see. I mean, Spurs think that Harry Kane's going to win 3-0 against us. And
I think this is your best chance to beat them.
eliminate us. Say again, bro.
This is your best chance to beat Bayern Munich. I think this is the best equipped that Arsenal are for a long, long time to go up against a Bayern Munich that are not as equipped as they once were to actually beat them. I think they are heavily reliant on Harry Kane to put the ball in there. They've got some good players, but as LB said, I absolutely agree that they're not a better team than you. And I actually think LB's right in what he said. I think you're going to have to go full on Porto to get that win. You're going to need to use those dark arts to your benefit, especially with the fact that you're going to Bayern in the second leg.
Tough. That's tough.
That's massive.
Because that's why we lost the game against Real Madrid 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because we crumbled at the Bernabeu. We were the better team in both of those legs against Real Madrid. And at home, we absolutely battered them. The only reason we went out there is because we was at the Bernabeu, and in the last couple of minutes, we crumbled. And you've seen last year what happened. Second leg was at the Etihad. We absolutely demolished them. So that's going to be tough. So in an ideal world, you kind of want to take a goal or 2-goal advantage to Allianz, but still respect Bayern on the day. They'll still be difficult.
At the moment, I have a Man City Atletico Madrid final. I hope and pray with all my hope that Arsenal can get there. But if I'm being realistic, I think Man City Atletico.
Atletico in the final. That'd be tough, wouldn't it?
Atletico
one-off game.
That's what I have in my head. I hope Arsenal get there. I'd love it. Absolutely would. And if I'm honest with you, I want an Arsenal-Barcelona final for obvious reasons. Go get revenge 2006, man. That's what I want. But I don't think that will happen. I don't think Barcelona are good enough for one. And I also don't think that Arsenal need a little bit of luck to get through. To be fair, anyone does, don't they?
Every team needs a little bit of luck to get through that competition. 100%.
We can do it if we keep our players fit. I've seen us play. I've seen people tell me we're not going to beat Liverpool at the Emirates. We did. I've seen people say, "Oh, Man City at the Emirates. We know what's going to happen there. 3-0, 3-1, and we beat you." So we can do it. What we need to keep people fit and keep the momentum going, man. And this Etihad game I don't think people understand how massive this is, by the way. This is ridiculously big.
It's a game of the season, isn't it? It's got to be the game of the season.
Without a doubt. Unbelievable. This, like you say, a draw, I think both of us are all good, still just about. It's no good for us, really. But if one of us loses, it's going to be tough, like you've just said, LB. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be tough because, as much as I tried to mock Liverpool earlier with Errol, we didn't really wind them up too much. They are a top side. Do you know what I mean? They're a top side. So it's going to be hard, man. But listen, this is the back end of the season.
Just a quick question, Potsy, because obviously Liverpool played Brighton before the game. If they was to drop points there, would that change? No. Would that change your outlook a little bit? Because like they're on the same amount of points as you, aren't they? They're one ahead of us.
Yeah.
Like that would be huge, wouldn't it? Because they drop points, and whoever wins this game is like certified top.
Do you know what? If they drop points, whoever loses is going to be absolutely screwing. Because that is just like a proper missed opportunity. Because you'd say like, oh, at least Liverpool lost, or at least Liverpool didn't win, or whatever it be, a drew or whatever. But it's not, is it? It's going to be like, what a missed opportunity. Do you know what I mean? Like,
is it Anfield?
This is what I asked for. Say again.
It's at Anfield.
Oh.
Yeah, their record. I checked their home form, in the Premier League. They smack everyone up for like 3 or 4 every game, other than the
Scary.
top 6. They actually do. So it should be a routine win for Liverpool.
I
But
think
like I said
it will
earlier,
be
the
like
pressure will be
3-1 or
mad on
something.
them.
Just depends on what Brighton people get. You know what they're like. They're just 1 minute they're on smoke, the next minute they're just laying down for teams.
I know.
You know, man. You know, it is mad.
Well,
Listen,
De Zerbi loves Pep in it, so hopefully he'll do it for Pep. You know what I mean?
do it for Pep.
Do it
Don't
for
do
Pep.
it.
If you make sure I get the City job next, there you go.
Yeah, no.
When you off Pep, and I'll come over. It's crazy, isn't it? Listen, before we do go, make sure that you do me a favor, people. Make sure that you get onto Football Prizes, our sponsors of the show. Some unbelievable ones as well, by the way. A Jude Bellingham signed England shirt and a Paul Gascoigne one, the legendary number as well of 19. So please make sure that you get involved with that one. There's still time for you to get £1.95 ticket, RAV ticket for the England versus Slovenia game, which is going to be a private jet for yourself as well. It has got everybody's teams on here. So please make sure you go over there. We've got Taiwo Awoniyi for Forest. We've got Jared Bowen for West Ham. We've also got the Jurgen Klopp Liverpool prize. Lewis Miley, Pete, a legend that you love, a young lad, should I say, that you love. So make sure that you get over to Football Prizes, please, people, and check it out and get your ticket. You've got to be in it to win it. So please make sure that you do that. Listen, we're going to get out of here, people. Big up to Billy. Big up to LB. Big up to Pete. And, of course, big up to Errol and to Dan as well. We're going to get out of here. Make sure you smash a like and a subscribe to the channel. And we will see you next time, people. Take it easy. Yes, judges.
Hello, Dan. How you doing? You
What are you
all
up
right?
to, bro?
I'm actually watching the football, mate. This Surfshark VPN is a lifesaver, mate. You can watch the football with a dodgy Wi-Fi, even at the Emirates when you've got a big crowd there and everything like that, watching the football. Unbelievable.
Easy to set up? Well, it must be if you've done it, mate.
Ah, very, very funny. Even abroad you can, like, you can watch all your favourite programmes. It's like being at home, mate.
And that's exactly what you guys can do too. Click the link in the description for Surfshark VPN.